Dancers typically learn how to perform movements through observational classes in which the teacher models and asks the dancers to repeat the movement, assisting them with verbal cues and suggestions on how to perform the movement.
Today, Taylor is going to teach Avery how to do a tour jeté while comparing Fitz and Posner's theory and Smith's schema during Avery's learning process. Before we begin, Taylor, an expert in the skill, is going to demonstrate.
A tour jeté is a continuous skill, meaning that there is no definite start and end point to separate the series of gross motor movements it takes to complete the skill. It is a French ballet term essentially meaning a turning jump. To begin, we are going to start with regulatory conditions. We will do this by performing this skill in a closed environment, meaning that the performer is not faced with any unusual obstacles.
I will begin learning the new skill while being in the cognitive stage of Fitz and Posner's theory of learning, which means I know very little or nothing at all about the skill and what it requires to complete it.
Contradicts Smith's schema because he thinks that prior knowledge of the skill can affect the long-term storage of the skill.
We will begin by teaching Avery how to do the simple steps with the bar for assistance. In this case, we are using a chair to replace the bar. First, you start by brushing the right leg outwards in front of you while holding your arm in like a half moon shape. After you have brushed your foot front, you transfer your weight by stepping onto it and turning inwards towards the bar to face your torso to the other side. The final step, after you have brushed forward, transferred your weight, and turned to the other side, is to brush your back leg back, hold your hand out to the side, and your bar arm out to the front in a standard arabesque position.
As you can see, the movement pattern is in the cognitive stage of learning. To learn the steps involved in the gross motor skill, we decrease the degrees of freedom to hopefully increase the success of the performance.
In the associative stage, we will remove the bar, or the chair in this case, so that the index of difficulty will increase. Now moving to the associative stage of learning. The variable error in this stage is decreased due to the proprioceptors becoming more adapted when performing in the movement.
Between each trial, the variable error is high and the movement time is greater due to lack of coordination and dynamic stability throughout the movement.
Am I going this way?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Now then. We can put that in there because I screwed it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
Am I doing it again?
Sure. Bring both arms up when you brush your.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. It's easier. You're confused with like the fast move.
Yeah, that's just like holding on to the bar.
Oh, okay, got it. Should I do it one more time?
Yeah. Perfect.
Since Avery has demonstrated consistency, we have now moved to the autonomous stage. In this stage, the motor unit recruitment is more efficient due to the motor neurons adapting to the movements required to complete the skill.
In the autonomous stage, we will add the jump to assess performance outcome measure and to show improvement. Because it is considered an intermediate skill. For example, I was able to reach the autonomous stage quicker and more efficient than Avery was due to my background and previous dance ability. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Megan McKinley. I'm an assistant professor in dance in the Department of Theater and Dance.
What makes a tour jeté a continuous skill?
It's a continuation of one movement and step right into the next. It's the use of physics and force and velocity that is going to push from one area of the body to the next through space to allow you to go from the ground to the air, to change in a rotation in a spiral and continue to land and move through another movement.
How would you teach this step to others?
For a beginner student, you would start from the basics, beginning with the steps that will lead into the next. You won't find that full rotation or spiral or velocity and height at the beginning. You'll just keep things very low to the ground to get a little bit of the switch of weight and exchange of weight. And you'll start to build and scaffold these elements and start from the beginning with a few steps, finding a little bit of weight shift going back and letting that build until there's enough momentum and force behind it to allow the full movement to happen.
What is the level of difficulty of this step?
I think very much like dance in general, there's a variety of levels of difficulty with it. When you're teaching it at the lowest level, but it hasn't achieved its full potential. So to achieve the full potential with all of the force, velocity, momentum, and weight change, it is quite an intermediate to advanced action. And usually what happens before and after is what can continue to make the step even more difficult.